All right, so today we're going to be taking a deep dive into some ancient wisdom about how to handle the craziness of just being human. We're looking at teachings of the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood, and specifically their text called the Atlantean Brotherhood: Dual Identity, Agitation, and Stillness.
Sound intense.
Yeah, so you hear Atlantis and you think like, is this real? But it gets really interesting because they had this idea that chaos isn't like a bug in the system of life; it's actually like a feature.
Interesting. And they actually had a structured approach to understanding that chaos, not just like go with the flow, kind of a vague thing. This text lays out this idea of a dual identity.
Dual identity.
Yeah, it's this constant kind of push and pull between all the stuff that our minds and bodies are doing.
So like the physical world.
Right, exactly, all the motion. And then on the other side, you have stillness, which is where they say our soul hangs out.
Okay, so we're all basically living like a double life.
But in a way, yeah, that's kind of the premise here.
Tell me more about this agitation thing, because honestly, between work, news, social media, it's like my mind rarely feels quiet.
Yeah, and everyone else in the 21st century too, right?
Mhm.
I mean, that's exactly what the Atlanteans were getting at. They saw all this like mental and physical motion as a distraction from something deeper.
Okay.
It's not that agitation is bad, but it's like this constant wave crashing on the shore of our awareness.
Keeping us from that peaceful space.
Yeah, keeping us from that peaceful inner space.
So stillness is like the opposite of that, like finding that quiet beach behind the waves.
You got it. But here's the twist. The Atlanteans didn't think we should just like eliminate agitation. They saw it as a messenger,
Okay.
something that points us towards the need for stillness.
So instead of getting stressed when things feel chaotic, we should be paying attention to what that chaos is trying to tell us.
Exactly. Instead of just being like swept away by the current, we need to kind of become aware of it, maybe even learn to ride it a little bit. Think about the tough stuff that you deal with. Like, those are your storms. The Atlanteans would say, look for the calm in the center of that storm, the eye of the hurricane. That's where your true self is, just chilling.
That's a powerful image, I gotta admit. But is it really possible to find that calm when everything's going haywire?
That's where things get really interesting. The Atlanteans believe that stillness is our default setting.
Default setting.
Yeah, it's our true nature.
Yep.
It's not something we have to achieve. It's already there underneath all the noise.
Hold on, are they saying we're all secretly Zen masters just waiting to be unleashed?
In a way, yes. They would argue that our soul, like at its core, is pure stillness. No thoughts, no worries, just pure being.
Okay.
They even tie this back to that famous quote from Jesus, "Be still and know that I am God."
Whoa. Okay, that's a pretty profound connection. But if this stillness is so natural to us, why does it feel so elusive? Like, why am I not walking around feeling blissed out all the time?
That's a fantastic question, and it leads us to another kind of mind-blowing idea from the Atlanteans. They believe that on like a societal level, there's actually a resistance to stillness.
Wait, seriously? Why would anyone be against peace and quiet?
Think about it. When our minds are still, we start to question things.
Right.
We see through the illusions, the manipulations, the systems that might benefit from keeping us distracted and agitated.
So they're saying a still mind is a dangerous mind, at least to those in power.
Precisely. The Atlanteans suggested there's something inherently revolutionary about stillness. It allows us to see the world more clearly, to connect with our own, like, inner authority.
I can see how that would ruffle some feathers.
Yeah.
But if stillness is our true nature and it has the potential to change the world, how do we actually tap into it? I mean, I can't just quit my job and go live in a cave.
The Atlanteans weren't suggesting anything that drastic. They actually offered some pretty practical steps,
Okay, good.
like incorporating daily meditation into our routine, even just a few minutes of sitting in silence. Observing our thoughts can make a huge difference.
So starting small, building that stillness muscle, so to speak.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And alongside meditation, they also talked about simplifying life, reducing clutter, both physical and mental, just to create space for stillness to kind of emerge.
Okay, I can get on board with that.
Hmm.
But let's be real. There's always going to be stuff we can't just eliminate. Work, family, the never-ending to-do list. How do we find stillness amidst all that?
Well, remember the whole dual identity thing we talked about?
Yeah.
The Atlanteans didn't advocate for becoming hermits. It's about finding a balance between being engaged in the world and cultivating that inner sanctuary of stillness.
So it's not about erasing the chaos. It's about learning to navigate it from a place of inner peace.
Now you're getting it. It's about recognizing that both agitation and stillness have their place, and the key is finding that sweet spot between the two.
I like that. It feels more attainable, less like an all or nothing proposition.
And that brings us to perhaps the most powerful insight the Atlanteans offer.
Oh.
The idea that despite all the storms of life, you are essentially the eye of the hurricane.
Okay, I'm hooked. What exactly does that mean? How do we become the calm amidst the chaos?
Well, the Grand Master of the Atlantean Brotherhood, WaXhira,
Wait, hold up. Grand Master WaXhira, is that his real name?
you heard that right. Even I did a double take when I first encountered it in the source material. But trust me, his teachings are worth paying attention to.
Okay, you've piqued my curiosity. Tell me more about this Grand Master and what he has to say about finding stillness in the storm.
Well, Grand Master WaXhira emphasizes that the real journey isn't about eliminating agitation entirely.
But rather about remembering the stillness that's already present within us. Like the storm might be raging outside, but our inner house is still standing.
Exactly. You got it. It's not about becoming immune to the ups and downs of life, but about finding that unshakable center within ourselves.
So instead of fighting the current, we're learning to swim.
Yeah, I like that analogy. And Grandmaster WaXhira's teachings offer guidance on how to do just that. He suggests that the first step is awareness, like noticing when we're getting swept up in the agitation, when our thoughts are racing and our emotions are pulling us in different directions.
So it's like hitting the pause button,
Mm.
taking a step back from the chaos to just observe what's happening within us.
Precisely. It's about creating that space between ourselves and our reactions. Instead of being ruled by our thoughts and emotions, we learn to witness them without judgment.
This reminds me of something we touched on earlier, the idea that societies, especially those obsessed with control and consumption, actually fear stillness. Why is that? What's so threatening about a quiet mind?
Well, the Atlanteans believe that a still mind is a free mind. When we're constantly bombarded with information and stimulation, it's easier to manipulate us, to keep us in a state of fear and desire.
So it's like by keeping us distracted, they can control what we think, what we buy, even how we vote.
You got it. And when we cultivate stillness, we start to see through those tactics. We become less susceptible to advertising, propaganda, all those subtle ways we're being influenced.
It's pretty mind-blowing when you think about it. It's like stillness is this hidden superpower that allows us to reclaim our own minds
Yeah.
and make conscious choices.
Exactly. And it's not just about resisting external manipulation. It's also about recognizing the patterns within ourselves. You know, the ways we limit ourselves with negative thoughts, self-doubt, all the stories we tell ourselves that keep us stuck.
So stillness becomes this tool for self-discovery, breaking free from our own internal limitations.
Absolutely. It allows us to see ourselves more clearly, to understand our motivations, and to make choices that are aligned with our true values.
Okay, I'm totally on board with this idea of stillness as a revolutionary act, both personally and societally. But I have to admit, there's a part of me that still feels a bit lost. Like, where do I even begin? We've talked about meditation and simplifying life, but are there any other practical ways to access this stillness amidst the craziness of everyday life?
Remember, the Atlanteans saw the dual identity as a dance between agitation and stillness. It's not about eradicating one or the other, but finding harmony between the two.
So we're not striving for some unattainable state of perfect zen, but rather finding those moments of peace amidst the chaos.
Exactly. It could be as simple as like taking a few conscious breaths before responding to a stressful email, or pausing to appreciate the beauty of a sunset, or listening fully to a loved one without interrupting or letting our minds wander.
So it's about bringing that mindful awareness into everything we do, finding those little pockets of stillness throughout the day.
You got it. It's about shifting our focus from the constant chatter of the mind to the present moment, to the simple act of being.
I love that. It feels so much more accessible than trying to force ourselves into some kind of meditative trance. But if you'll indulge my skepticism for a moment, what about those times when life really throws us a curveball? Those moments when everything feels like it's falling apart? Is it even possible to find stillness then?
The Atlanteans would say that's when it's most crucial to remember who you truly are, the eye of the hurricane.
It's easy to say that in theory. But how do we put it into practice when we're feeling overwhelmed with grief or anxiety or even just plain old stress?
Well, Grand Master WaXhira offers a profound teaching that might help.
So we were just getting to the good stuff. What did Grand Master WaXhira have to say about finding stillness in those like really tough moments in life?
Well, so picture this.
Yeah.
You're in the middle of a hurricane, right? Winds howling, rain coming down sideways, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
It's intense, it's scary, and it feels like it will never end. But then you remember something crucial. You're not actually in the storm, you're in the eye of the hurricane, that perfectly calm center where the sun is shining, the birds are even singing.
Okay, so I'm starting to see where you're going with this, but how does that apply to like dealing with a job loss or a health scare? Those feel pretty darn stormy from where I'm standing.
Those are absolutely valid examples of life storms, no doubt about it. But Grand Master WaXhira would say that even in those moments, there's a part of you that remains untouched by it. That's your true self, your soul, like that essence of stillness that exists beyond all the turmoil.
So it's not about pretending the storm isn't happening. It's about accessing a deeper part of ourselves that isn't defined by the chaos.
Exactly. It's about remembering that we are not the storm. We are the stillness that witnesses it. And that realization, that shift in perspective, is what allows us to kind of navigate those challenges with a sense of groundedness
Yeah.
and resilience.
That's incredibly powerful. It's like instead of being consumed by the waves, we're learning to surf
I
them.
love that. It's about finding that inner balance, that place of strength and clarity, even amidst all the turbulence.
This has been such an eye-opening deep dive, I have to say. But if I can be honest for a second, there's still a little voice in my head that's like, yeah, but is this just a bunch of esoteric mumbo jumbo?
Right.
You know, like how do we know this isn't all just feel-good fluff?
That's a fair question. And the Atlanteans wouldn't expect you to simply accept their teachings blindly. They actually encourage skepticism, critical thinking, personal exploration.
So it's not about dogma or blind faith. It's about actually experiencing this stillness for ourselves.
Precisely. They offered tools and practices like meditation, simplifying life, not as rigid rules, but as pathways to help us tap into that inner stillness.
And they believed that through consistent practice, we could not only experience the stillness, but like integrate it into our everyday lives.
Exactly. It's about making stillness a way of being, not just something we do for a few minutes each day. It's about bringing that sense of presence, that inner calm, into all aspects of our lives.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that we have a choice. You know, we can get swept up in the chaos of the world, or we can choose to cultivate that stillness within us. It's empowering to know that we have that power.
And I think that's a beautiful way to sum it up.
Uh.
We are not victims of circumstance. We are creators of our own experience.
So if stillness is our true nature, what possibilities open up when we start living from that place? It's definitely something I'll be pondering.
And for those who are intrigued by these teachings and want to explore further, I highly recommend checking out the Sacred Atlantean Brotherhood's YouTube channel. They have a wealth of information on their teachings, practices, and perspectives.
It's youtube.com/Atlantean Brotherhood, right?
That's the one. They even have a call to action on their channel. Like, subscribe, and share their videos to help spread their message of peace and stillness.
Well, deep divers, we've reached the end of our journey into the world of the Atlantean Brotherhood. We hope this deep dive has sparked some curiosity and maybe even inspired you to explore the power of stillness in your own lives. Until next time, stay curious, keep exploring, and remember the wise words of Grand Master WaXhira. You are not the storm, you are the stillness that witnesses it.